going on? This is Wicked Chaos. My name's Mike,
I'm John.
and tonight we're going to be talking about a couple movies and a couple shows. Trying to give no spoilers. We'll see how that works.
Yeah, I have a tendency of doing that.
Um, we're going to keep it short and sweet, and try not to deviate too much tonight. We're going to be going over, wrapping up, summing up The Boys, going over a show called Upload, and we're going to be touching on The Witcher tonight just a little bit and talking about what's going on in the next season. And then for the movies tonight that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be looking at Enola and an overview of Corbin Nash. Um,
Yeah, so first up, we're going to just sum up The Boys. So, season 2 just ended. If you haven't watched it yet, you need to check it out. Like, now both seasons are fully done. Now you can binge both seasons.
and without giving any spoilers, we would just like to say that the last few episodes of the second season we think were phenomenally done.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's got a great direction. I think everyone who's been interested in the show, still interested in the show, is very excited to see where this goes. So I think,
A lot of good twists too.
yep,
That some you saw, some you didn't see coming.
agreed.
And then the way the acting in it, again, they did so well. Anthony Starr's Homelander did a good job. Carl Urban. I can't. The way they do this show is just so well done. So feel free to go out, check them out. Let us know how you feel. Feel free to comment on any of our videos. If you have any comment, anything you have to say, we'd love to hear some feedback. Like we said before, we're still a work in progress. Any little bit helps.
Yeah, definitely let us know what you think about the boys. If anybody who's watching this has seen it, has any input, without giving any spoilers, feel free to drop a comment down below. Um, we're not going to beat the boys into too much because we did a lot of it last week
Yeah.
or 2 weeks ago, I should
Yeah.
say. So we're going to kind of jump into another show that we both watched recently that we're giving another big thumbs up to, which is Upload. Now, to give just a very short sum up of Upload so that you can see if you're going to be interested in this without just watching some of the pop up trailers that only have a snippet of what the story's about. It's based very loosely in the near future, and it's almost brought to a level where your consciousness can be downloaded onto a computer and then uploaded to a space that they
Your own heaven, basically.
right in a very direct way of saying it.
But yet you're still conscious. You still need money. You still need all this shit to make your world go round.
Yeah, and I feel like they're taking a lot of shots without getting too political at capitalism and
Yeah.
um, a couple other aspects. I guess I don't want to get too into it, but they take a few shots, I think, in this show. But at the same time, they've still put together a wonderful show, and it's very accurate, I think, to how the world would almost progress if this was a possibility.
Yeah.
We've had the discussion of AI for a long time. We've had discussions of the whole like matrix theory. Are we here? Are we simulation? That kind of talk. So it's very interesting in this world to see what almost like the Americanized version of the future of uploading your consciousness to a heaven would be like. They nail it pretty good. Um, would you like to say anything about the show?
Yeah. Well, I could go on and on. Robbie Amell's the main character. Um, he does a really good job. He's the brother or cousin of Stephen Amell, who plays Arrow in the Arrowverse. Um, but he does a very good job. Like, he doesn't overact with a lot of television actors you see nowadays. He's been on a few shows. He was on The Tomorrow People before. He played in Arrow Flash for a while as Firestorm. He did really good in those. Um, but the way his personality and his acting skills bounce off other people is just so well in that show. And it's comical. Like, this show is designed to hit every emotion. You hit nerves, you hit anger. It it definitely drives you to be like, oh wow, this shit could legitimately happen had we had the technology.
Definitely.
Because it takes place in a hotel. Not really a spoiler because you get uploaded to your own heaven.
Well, the heaven that is taking place in this show, which is really no
There's different
spoiler.
places you can go depending on how much money you have.
Right.
Like the more money you die with, the more you can afford to go to a better place.
The series takes place in the upload called is it Haven,
Yeah, Haven.
and there's a fly around here. I'm sorry, I'm swatting at it. Um, it's so it's like John was saying, it's very dedicated towards how much money you have. So richer people obviously end up in wealthier uploads, and poor people end up in poor uploads. It's very diverse. There's a lot of plot twists, a lot of different angles that they go over. There's a lot of twists and turns that you kind of can see coming, but at the same time they like to throw in some mix ups.
And curveballs.
So it kind
You'll
of
be
keeps it
thinking one
fresh.
character is going another way, one way, and then holy shit, now he's back in another direction.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird thing. Like I want to tell you about a lot of this show because there's a lot of funny shit, but it's it's got some points. I mean, there is some adult theme to some of the episodes.
Yeah.
Um,
But it is kid friendly. They don't show anything. There's no nudity.
yeah,
There's no. Uh,
but some of the topics they discuss and stuff like that can be construed as a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they show skin a little bit in like the first couple, either the first episode or so.
well, then later on when they're in the hotel, in the hospital, hotel with the suit.
Right. There's implications,
I'm pretty sure I can't
but
remember.
there is no. You don't see anything. There's no.
Yeah, there's no
There's
nudity.
no
No, no, no,
nudity,
no, no.
but there's definitely implications. There's definitely
Suggestive
suggestive
themes.
themes. So with that, if you think your kids are ready for that kind of
Yeah, but it's
content,
good. It's good. But that being said, there's that's not the main premise of the show.
no, very small aspects of it. Just wanted to point that
Yeah.
out to anyone who was thinking about introducing their kids to the show.
But there's a lot of plot twists like outside of that. Like, is there people going behind people's backs? Is there lie? There's lying. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that make you think one thing and then there's a totally different thing in your face. But I strongly like it. There's a couple actors and actresses I can't remember off the top of my head, but the biggest one is Robbie Amell. And the girl that plays, is it Ingrid? His girlfriend? Blonde.
Yes. Wait, that's
It's
her stage name. Yeah.
no
Or like her movie name. Ingrid. Yeah.
in the
In
show.
the show, right?
Yeah,
Ingrid.
is his girlfriend. She's another actress who's been in something, and I can't place it, but their chemistry together works really well. But I strongly suggest it because, especially this time where we don't have a lot of shit to do, it's hard to find good shit to watch. Hence why we're doing this. Because we want people to go out and watch. I'm a more content person, I'll say that every episode. I can watch literally everything and find entertainment in anything. We were talking about it today, trying to pick a show that we're not really fond of, but I can find entertainment in anything. But I definitely like Upload. Um, it could use less filler episodes. I will say that. But some a lot there is in the informative episodes. There's a lot of information you need to take in. You got anything else to add?
Not really. Upload was a fantastic show, as we've said. I definitely recommend it. I believe
It's on Amazon.
Yep, it's on Amazon.
That's one thing we need to do that.
Boys is also on Amazon.
Correct.
second season been confirmed?
Yes, the second season has been confirmed. Has not started filming or anything yet, as of that I know of. So that's our little sum up of upload.
What's upload?
Feel free to comment. If you have something to add about the show, feel free to put it in the comments section.
Please try not to spoiler for anybody.
Yeah.
But definitely give your regards on what you thought of the show. If you think people should watch it, if you think it was not worth people's time, we'd love to hear it because that's what we're here for. We love input. We'd like to hear what people think about these shows that we're bringing up because we're here to try to get people onto shows that we think are worth watching. So if we're promoting shows that you think aren't worth it, we'd like to hear that. And if you
because we're all about everyone's information. And if you have more information about shows that we should watch,
right,
let us know because I'm always looking for something to watch, and I have every streaming website. So if it's something that you're interested in, let us know in the comments. We'll talk about it, or we'll watch it and then we'll comment on it. Because whether it's good or bad, it's still more content in my eyes. And I'm always, because something I may not like, but the show I could fall in love with. And it's the truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I get where you're putting down.
There's stuff that doesn't seem like it, but like if Mike told me to watch something, I'm going to watch it. That's how I got bigger into anime. Mike told me to watch an anime and it hooked me.
So, yeah, we can always use input. And we'd love to review some shows deeper in depth. I think we're actually going to, in the near future here, we're going to get deeper into actually divulging into shows.
Single episodes about single shows.
So if you haven't seen, and we will be labeling the episodes. If you
Spoilers.
haven't seen those, if you haven't seen those shows that we're going to be getting into and reviewing, we're going to be diving into the lore. We're going to be diving into maybe what if the show had comics or whatever kind of roots. We're going to be diving into how well the show did with playing. So in the future, when we label episodes with certain shows or movies, we're really going to be diving in. So if you haven't seen that content, you might want to wait on watching that.
Right.
And actually, we will be trying to, when those episodes are coming up, we're going to be trying to let you guys know what we're going to be watching or what we're going to be reviewing so that you guys can know ahead of time. And if you guys want to watch it beforehand or if you've already seen it, perfect. But
and I was thinking about this today. I'm kind of throwing Mike on the spot right now because we're live. So I was thinking about we could do watch-alongs. Like, we'll commentary on something we're watching.
We'll see what we have the rights to do.
Well, right, but it's something that I would like to do too eventually down the road if we could.
I think we can show the film.
No, but we can commentary on what. But that's more stuff that we're talking about doing. Right. Like, we want to put more content on for everybody. We want to get more stuff out there for our fans because we'd like to get more. So feel free to subscribe down below.
Yep.
Like our videos, comment, whatever. But that's that. And then what's the next show we want to talk about? The Witcher.
Well, before we get into The Witcher, just want to say, in the near future here, when we start really getting into it, we'll probably be doing a lot more submersive, like I said, conversations. So at one point, we will probably be having John do almost like a question and answer if anybody has anything they want to ask and talk about. And we'll be able to do whatever you guys want to do. So feel free to give us any input because in the future, when we really start diving into shows and movies, we're going to want questions. We're going to want interactive information from you guys because we're going to want to have a conversation. No, a conversation.
Oh.
And it's going to be long based and it's going to be long form, but I think it's what people are really interested in communicating with people who are of similar mind and who find value in certain shows and aspects. I know that in the future, I'm going to be diving into the anime world. I know John's got a lot of movies interested in bringing up in a lot of the other universes in the comic world that he's a huge fan of that we're going to be getting into because I know certain shows are leaving, some shows are coming. So just
Bear with us as
bear
we
with
build
us.
our fan base, build our comment.
There's so many episodes to come, and it's hard to kind of keep track of what's.
And there may be episodes where it's just one of us.
Right. So please give us any feedback because we'd love to hear from anyone who's hearing this, listening
I'm
to
trying to keep the negativity. Like if it's criticism, that's one thing. But don't just come on and blast. Because I'm not a nice person.
Anyway, we love feedback. Getting to the last show here that we want to talk about, The Witcher. They had a first season come out. It was very well done. Just a quick overview of what The Witcher is, so that anyone who doesn't know about The Witcher or hasn't heard about it, which is
a lot of people
have, but a lot of people haven't. Right. Yes. The Witcher is a fantasy-based show that was based off of some novels that became a video game that became the show. Main actor
Henry Cavill,
who is also Superman in the newest Superman series, Man of Steel, and League of Legends.
No, he was
the new one.
Justice League.
Sorry. There's so many.
He also played Theseus in Immortals. He also played in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
He's been doing a lot of stuff lately.
Oh, yeah.
And he's actually been taking on a lot of big name roles. A lot of big
He just played, like we're going to get into it later in this episode, but he also plays Sherlock Holmes in Enola.
Yep. So Henry Cavill, right?
Yep.
Henry Cavill has been doing a fantastic job. So to give you a little more overview of The Witcher.
Hold on, before you get into that, kudos to Henry Cavill, because as soon as this show got released, he was the first person to audition for the role because he loved the character of Geralt so bad that he had to play the role. He sought out everyone before casting even started. So kudos to Henry Cavill.
Yeah, gotta give a shout. So the show, fantasy show, based in a world with other races. So there are elves. There are some kind of fantasy like satyrs, which are like good people, and things of that nature. Dragons and whatnot. So this is a fantasy world. Humans are obviously a thing, but it's heavily based in the human world.
I would confirm it if you don't know anything about this series. Geralt is a monster hunter. That is basically what a Witcher is.
So the show is based around Geralt, who is a monster hunter, who throughout his tasks and travels finds himself intertwined with destiny.
Warded to destiny, basically. And
the tale that kind of spins itself. We don't want to give away any spoilers.
Yeah, it's so hard for the show because I just rewatched this whole series. I love this show. I'm a huge fan of the books. Like the books hooked me.
What's the actress's name? The other main character here.
Yennefer.
What's her real name?
Oh, you had to ask me.
Yeah, you're our guy. See, I have to put John on the spot here because he remembers every person's name.
Oh my god.
There's a few people who fall through the cracks if he doesn't.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna look it up, but he can.
He's looking it up. So there is magic in this series. So obviously fantasy, but they do a very good job with presenting a realm of magic that they kind of explain. So like obviously magic can't be explained in essence. It all comes from a source energy of some kind, which you can't physicize. You can't.
Okay, so the main characters are Henry Cavill plays Geralt, Freya Allan plays Ciri, and then you have Anya Shalaretta. Don't quote me on that. I'm probably butchering names. She plays Yennefer. Okay. So basically, Yennefer. Those are the three main characters. Also, I want to tell you this one thing: if you watch this show, the biggest thing that throws people off with this show is it takes place during two different timelines.
Actually, it's 4.
Oh yeah, because Yennefer is in her own. Yeah. No, because Yennefer and Geralt are happening during the same time. They're just simultaneously different parts of.
Yeah, yeah, it's 100 years old. So it's Geralt, but Geralt is happening.
You're right. You're right.
So
Yeah.
Yennefer's is literally the earliest
Yeah.
timelines. When she's a
Yeah,
child,
right.
that's the earliest, and then Geralt's earliest is after that, and then the girls now, and then Geralt's now.
But basically,
And
they
those-
all
Those
converge.
two converge.
They all converge towards the end of the season. But
It's confusing.
It's confusing if you don't.
But around like the fifth, sixth episode, they start to show you where it all comes together.
Right.
It all starts making sense. So bear with it, because they do show you that these could be different timelines, and then they really cement it. So like paying attention to the characters is very crucial, because it shows you a lot of which timeline you're on. Because they do mend it well together in the end, but it is very confusing at first for like the first 3 episodes, because you can kind of tell
I'd even say
something's going
first
on.
5 episodes.
Something like that.
But
either way,
it's a very, very, very well done show.
great show.
And if you ever played the video games, there's a couple scenes that they add in the movie that are exactly how they happen in the game, or in the show. I mean, they happen just like that in the show. It's quite funny, and it kind of plays on the character if you play the games and the books, because in the books he's very talkative to his horse, Roach, and they put that in the show, which I'm very happy about, because it's a little detail that they didn't have to put in, but to understand who Geralt is, like, that's a huge personality trait that he communicates with one-sided conversations with animals.
Especially while being a monster hunter.
And he's also...
makes him a little more humane, the fact that he talks to his horse. He's not just...
I'll explain what a witcher is real quick, because it does a little bit in the show, but basically witchers are orphans, and they're given to this group of people who are witches. They basically do science on them for the time that creates them to become who they are. Because Geralt looks totally different than everyone else, but he's actually human.
What is his eyes are different?
His eyes are different. His hair's
white. Not all witches.
That's what I'm saying. He's different. But there's stuff like that they don't explain. Like it's basically science experiments on kids, basically.
Yeah. A very small percentage of them actually make it.
Mm-hmm. And the life expectancy of a witcher is not very long.
And they don't touch on that too much. They barely do in one episode. They kind of touch on it.
So basically how they
just giving you a little more information.
A lot of the witchers are extinct. They've died off, and there's very few left. And in the show, the main focus is Geralt, but you'll meet a couple other witchers in the show. But there's I think it says there's only in the books there's less than 100 witchers left in the world. So they talk about them dying out. And they kind of go into what happens to these kids. They kind of touch base on it, but they don't give you full detail. But the book, I strongly suggest the books. I think there's 5 or 6 books that they turn into a game. And the game is phenomenal as well. The games. You have anything else to add on that?
No, I think you summed it pretty well.
Definitely watch it. That is on Netflix.
These episodes for these, what we're doing right now, we're just trying to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down, a very quick overview of these shows without trying to give away any spoilers, which is really hard because to sell a show to somebody, you really want to tell them something about it.
And I'm here.
And we're going to get better at this because I know that it's easier to talk about a show without giving spoilers, but we're just very new at it without giving away too much information.
Because I love spoilers.
So
also, and now I'm going to put Mike on the spot so he can bash Umbrella Academy because he did not care for Umbrella Academy, because we want to tell you about shows that we don't like as well. Because if you don't want to invest your time in a show that you're not even sure you're going to like, we're just trying to help. And Mike will talk about Umbrella Academy real quick.
So we kind of wanted to, obviously, because we're presenting shows that we think are worth people's time. So we want to at least give one show that we necessarily don't think is worth people's time. And I don't want to bring negativity to anything. And so I'm going to be very brief with these segments. And if John ever has one that he wants to bring up, we're going to try and keep them very short and brief. But for me personally, I was very upset with Umbrella Academy. They, the first season, as most people know who have watched it, it's almost insufferable because of the main actress.
I feel like they just tried to rush a lot.
That too. I I bore with it. I watched the whole season, the first season, to so that I knew if I didn't like it or not, and I knew I didn't like it. So I was able to say I firmly do not like this show. Second season came out, got a bunch of hype again. So I said, "All right, Mike,
But
here we go."
this being said, we still gave it our time and watched the whole season, all the
Yep.
seasons.
Because if I'm going to hate something, I'm going to watch all of it so I can understand all of it.
Not to mention the fact that what we still support content.
Yep.
Whether if we like it or not, we're still going to support it.
And Umbrella Academy was based off another comic series,
Yep.
which
They had a lot of. Because I read the books, I read the graphic novels,
and the show isn't terrible. It's just a couple of things that make the show just almost unbearable.
but there are also a lot of redeeming points to the show.
Yes.
A couple of the characters.
But to save this and to wrap this up, in the second season, they did a fantastic job in the first like six, 7 episodes. 6-7 episodes right up towards the end. And then whoever's decision this was, they decided to make all the character growth, to make all the changes that happened and all the decision making and all the maturing and all the, like I said, just the growth that all these characters have just gets thrown out the window over the course of one episode.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but like when a writer
if you're going to invest your time in that character, you don't want it to go to waste.
When a writer presents me with the world, I go off of that world's physics, if you will. So you present me a world where we have superpowers. Okay, I believe that people have superpowers. Then my brain has to be open to all sorts of other kinds of shenanigans, if you will, for that world to exist. So my mind's open. But when you spend an entire season showing growth and admiration and determination and desire and fortitude, and then in one episode you just crumple it up and just throw it out the fucking window. I don't know what to do with that. Like, I guess you can argue that it's artistic to build and build and build and then destroy something that you've built over a season. But to do it in that grand of fashion, I could have ended that second. I could have done that in 100 different ways that didn't jeopardize the integrity of each of those characters' growth.
Right.
I got to be done with it because I could
rant
on this. I don't recommend Umbrella Academy for people who like to be critical about.
If
shows.
you read the books like I did, I have a different appreciation for it. Yes, the show was done not very well at parts because they got rid of a lot of the content.
There's a lot of good parts of the show, though.
Yeah, the characters. A couple of the actors I'm not fans of, but the show itself, I thought was okay. I won't say it was great, and I won't say I hated it because I love the books, and it's more content for the books. So, again, I'm a more content person. But they could have done so much better with what they had. They could physically put in their hands with the comic book and just work it that way. But that's all we have to say on Umbrella Academy. I just had to give him a venting moment because he's been talking about it.
Yeah, I need to get that off my chest. We're going to move on to the last two subjects here before we wrap up the show. We're going to talk about a couple movies. Just, once again, quick little overviews. We're not going to try and give away too much because we want you guys to go and watch them and to enjoy them.
And
we to give us your feedback on what you thought of them.
And we want to get more videos up here as well. And it's hard with our schedules. He lives an hour from me, so it's kind of hard we get together. So, like I said, there'll be episodes where it's one of us, one or the other. And it's not because we don't want the other one there. It's just because timing works out or something comes up. So, that being said, we're going to try and get more out there. So, the first show, the movie I want to talk about that took me by complete surprise was Enola. Enola Holmes. This movie was so well done. It's got Millie Bobby Brown playing Enola Holmes. Got Sam Clavin, I think Clavin or Clavin. He played Francis in Deadpool. He plays Mycroft, Sherlock Holmes' older brother. And then you have Sherlock Holmes, who's played by Henry Cavill, who also is Superman in the new DCEU. The way that they work together, the way they do the mannerisms of these characters. If you know anything about Sherlock Holmes or Mycroft, you just
super well done.
It's super well done. And like, you can hate on actors all you want, but like when you see a guy go from Theseus to Superman to Sherlock Holmes was crazy. And he's not even the main character. Millie Bobby Brown.
I was gonna say, yeah, let's give some credit to where it's due though. She does a phenomenal job. She does an incredible job in this.
If you read any books about Enola Holmes, she is the younger sister of Sherlock and Mycroft.
Yeah.
That only talked about in very minimal book. Not many, but like when she is like they hit her mannerisms, her clumsiness. And she takes more of the traits of Sherlock Holmes and Mycroft, but she has Mycroft's brain. It's hard to explain. She's got Sherlock Holmes's abilities with Mycroft's overthinking of stuff. And it's kind of crazy because I don't want to talk about spoilers, but and Helen Burnham Cohen, Jesus, I can't speak. She plays Beatrice in Harry Potter. She's been in Butcher of Sweeney Todd, or the Butcher, Sweeney Todd, the Butcher of Fleet Street. She played the baker in that. She's been in so many movies. If I'm not mistaken, she was married to Tim Burton at one point. And she plays Sherlock's mother and Enola's mom. And they do so well with the way that she deduces things, she figures things out, the way she walks, the way she's clumsy, the way, like, it's not forced. Like in some movies when people are like, oh, I tripped. Like she legitimately commits and like falls off a bike. And like, it's not like a stage fall. Like, well, it is a stage fall, but you can't see it that way.
Do a very good job of it.
And
but anyway, the show is a mystery where she is looking for someone. Her mother, we can say that it's part of the trailer.
Yeah.
And the way that they adapt her from the novel adaptation blurps that we get of Enola is very well done.
So the synopsis of the show, I'll sum it up real quick without spoilers. Enola's mother, because this is all in the synopsis online and everything, so I can talk about this. The synopsis is the mother goes missing. Their mother goes missing. Enola is warded to Mycroft because he is the older brother. And Enola is rebelling to find her mother because she wants to know where her mom is. That's the best way I could explain it.
So the movie is kind of an adventure of that aspect and her trials and tribulations and her adventures through finding her mother.
And also, if you don't know what warded means, basically her guardian dies and she's given to her oldest sibling. But yeah, like the martial arts in it, the choreography, fight choreography in the show is amazing. The pyrotechnics with explosions and stuff in the show is amazing. The stunts in some of the scenes are funny and they're well done. Like I give mad props to the people that put this on. All this is on Netflix.
I think it's pretty kid friendly.
Yeah, it's very kid friendly. Yeah, there's a little bit of violence, but nothing. You don't see blood and guts.
No, there's no blood and gore.
Mainly just fight scenes
But
and a little bloody lip or bruising in here or there. But
it's pretty kid friendly.
yeah, um, and she meets this boy, and it's just there's no I wouldn't say a love story, but it's just the way it plays. Like it could be future movies. Like they could add to the show, the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
there could definitely be a second one. They left off with the premise, not the premise, but they left off with the direction that there could easily be a second.
oh yeah. And it's in the heights of the revolution in in that area and time frame. Um, so they're hunting revolutionists, and it's it's very cool and like how they do like incognito hiding, like costumes and disguises, and it's very well done. It's funny, and the way they play tricks and stuff like that. And I love this movie. Like it took me by surprise how much I watched it with my children, and we loved it. Yeah, yeah.
No, we'll definitely give that our stamp of approval.
Oh yeah,
If you haven't seen that already, definitely check it out. Enola. It's on Netflix right now.
yeah,
I think it's like it's only on Netflix.
yeah. It's only on
original, right?
Netflix right now. It's a Netflix original.
So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. If you have, definitely leave some love in the comments. Let us know if you liked it. If you didn't, if you think other people should watch it. I think it's a pretty good movie for the time right now.
Yeah, yeah. It is actually. It's not very political.
No,
Like I said, it takes place during a revolution, but it's not.
time frame.
It's not huge into politics.
So
Um,
good movie for right now.
yeah, I definitely suggest watching that movie. It's a good family night movie night.
Yep.
Like I strongly suggest that. Now, this next movie we're going to talk about, Mike has not seen yet, but I'm going to make him watch it.
So I'm gonna let John take the lead on this one and let
This
him hit the pointers.
this movie surprised me. It came out in 2018. I think
called?
huh?
What's it called?
I was just gonna get there. Corbin Nash. It's called Corbin Nash. Um, it's very Blade slash Spawn slash. I don't know. It's got to feel like he's a vigilante. It's kind of got the vigilante, like the Spawn feel to it.
Nash vs. Evil.
Yes and no.
Yes or no?
It's more Blade than Ash vs. Evil.
Okay, so a little more serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's done by, I don't know if they're brothers, fathers, sons, but the Yeager brothers, mind you, it might be Jagger or Yeager. I don't exactly know how they pronounce it. But Dean Yeager, he plays Corbin. He's the main character. He is a detective. He's in this world. He's oblivious, and then he sees he's looking for missing children. This is all in the synopsis online. He's searching for missing children. He's a detective on a missing persons case, and he's dragged into this underworld that is vampires, but they are ancient vampires. They're the ones that sculpt history. They sculpt everything that happens in the world, and his I want to just spoil it, but I can't. But like, he's thrown in. He's from a long line of hunters. I guess you could say they're hunters. His dad was a World Series winner for the Yankees, and his dad is murdered. And this is all. He's trying to avenge his parents, but he's still trying to find these missing children.
So he has a vendetta over whoever killed his parents, but his job is to find these children. Right. That's where these two worlds kind of collide.
And then collide so well. It's also got Corey Feldman. I give him mad props for this role. He plays a transvestite vampire. And he does it so well. Kind of makes me fall back in love with Corey Feldman as an actor. Not because he's sexy in the show or anything, but it's just he's just a whole new take on him because everyone knows him for his younger roles. He's he's done a lot of things. He released that movie that's very controversial that you can barely ever see. This is the Rape of the Two Corys because he released it off after Corey Haim died. He released a movie, a documentary docu series, I guess you could say, of talking to people that knew about this and that it covered up with big name people. Like I said, I don't know what's true, what's not. I wasn't there, but it's something I give him props for having the strength to come out and say something. Um, he's very good. Rutger Hauer's in it for like 5 minutes, but he's he starts the second half of the movie, and it's really good. And Ben Davidson is in it. He was in X-Men 1. I think he was the congressman. And yeah, Malcolm McDowell. He was in like Tank Girl, stuff like that. He's usually a wise man in most movies he's in, or he's a villain because he's got that vibe.
He was actually the magician in Just Visiting.
Yeah,
Did you ever see
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
That was a ridiculous old movie.
And he's the way that the show goes. It's very, very dark.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of nudity and stuff in this show, so I don't suggest it for kids. But it's not tacky nudity. It's not like he goes into a strip club, so you're gonna have the dancers, but they're not. It's not tacky nudity for dancing because dancing is a job. It is. I give credit to dancers, so like I don't look at it as derogatory for a woman to be doing something like that. So I don't think of it as useless nudity. And there's a few sex scenes and stuff like that, but not. Actually, yeah, I think there's one sex scene in it, but I don't remember if it showed anything. But the show is not for children. The movie is not for children. Um, there's a lot of violence, a lot of gore and blood, and one scene there's fight scenes where there's blood and then vampires feeding off them and stuff like that. So there's you don't want to see if you don't want your children to that, don't subject them to it. Um, but it was very very surprised movie that, and it's getting weird reviews. Like some people either love this movie or they hate it. There was like no in between when I was looking at reviews. Um, I think it deserves a sequel because the way that they do it, they definitely leave it open for numerous sequels, and it could be very well be a very good universe to expand on. But it's not rushed. Like you expect him. The way they make the seem is like he's gonna find his parents' killer and get vengeance, but he does, but doesn't. It's kind of a weird way of doing it when you're looking at a movie saying, "Oh, this is what we're gonna do." The writer actually took into account that this could be bigger than the 2 hour time frame that we have for a movie, and they extended it past the movie. So the ending to the movie is kind of like a new beginning, and the way they do it is just so well done. If you get what I'm trying to say,
Yeah,
like the story is so much longer than what they put in that movie, and expansive, and it's so well. And mind you, he's also a detective through all this. Like he's a cop, and it's in this trailer. He gets bitten and becomes a vampire. So it kind of he becomes what he hates, basically, and it very Blade-esque, and I love how they did it. I definitely give Dean Yeager mad props for his. He kind of had a little overacting at times in the show, in the movie, but he didn't do terrible. I've seen much worse. And this, mind you, this movie is a smaller budget than like the Avengers.
Right.
Like
Tiny.
everyone's all about expanding these big universes, but they're forgetting the little guys that have potential to get to that point eventually. Like John Wick, the first one was a very minimal budget.
Right.
It's not a Marvel movie,
Right.
but now it's got 3 sequels, and the third movie made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely stories out there that I want to plug for movies because I'm a movie nut. As you can see, I don't have to look up notes for a lot of actors' names, and sometimes I do, but I remember the weirdest shit. And if you are into vampire movies, if you're into that kind of stuff, you'll if you liked Blade, you'll love this movie. Um, or anything to do with Spawn, you would appreciate this movie. I don't think it was based on any original material. I think it's just a standalone story. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that because I haven't read complete into it, but I liked it a lot. Um, Anything for you?
I haven't seen it.
No, like, is there any shows that do that for you or movies that like just surprise you?
Yeah. You're putting me on the spot. Like, make me
Yeah.
name a bunch of movies that
No, I
surprise
was
me.
just like one that really hits you. That because like when I was looking at this, I thought it was gonna be because I watched it on Xfinity, and I know you can buy it on Vudu. I think you can get it on Amazon. Um, I watched it on demand on Xfinity, and I just saw it, and I'm like, the box is the image, the thumbnail that they give you for the movie is not really appetizing. It's just a mouth with vampire fangs.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, okay, it's another vampire movie. But then I read it and I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this has a lot of potential. So then I watched it and I was like, wow, this movie surprised me. Has there ever been a movie? Name the first movie that comes to your head that did that for you.
Okay.
Okay, well,
But I'm not a movie buff like you.
this is true.
I don't
Like,
look that far
yeah.
into movies. I just remember seeing trailers about movies and being like, "Oh, that movie looks good."
And I'm also
It usually is.
I'm also one of those people that'll watch a movie a few times because you miss things.
Uh, there's a show that did that for me, and I know that I said I want to touch on this later, and I will be touching on this in a future episode. But a show did that for me called The Game.
I
It's
haven't
on
seen that yet.
Netflix. The Game. It's about soccer, so if you don't like soccer, it's not gonna be a show for you. But on that, I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, okay, this is kind of going to be a little bit of a documentary-ish type throwback to soccer. And then I was blown away on the production level, the acting, just everything that made the show what it was. It completely blew me away. So, in that aspect, I guess I can agree there because I did not see that coming from what I had anticipated on that show.
Yeah,
So,
like, and if there's movies or TV shows that do that for you, let us know.
Yeah,
because like, and I'm sure I will deep dive into one show that is one of my all time favorite shows is Smallville. And one of these episodes, I will deep dive and talk about this show for days. It's one of my, and there will be spoilers because you can't really talk about it without spoilers.
Right.
But that show, I was in a very
vulnerable.
vulnerable spot in my life. Wow, I can't talk. When that show first came out, and it was an escape for me. And one of the big reasons why I even got back into comics because it just did so well, and the themes and the personal relationship that you can get with these characters opens your eyes to your own life on not even just this show, but there are shows out there for other people that do the same thing. But it just makes you feel humbled at a point because even superheroes can fail, or even big actors or big characters can fail and still come out on top.
Humanizes it.
Yeah, it's very humanizing, and it's great, and I love that.
Yeah. So if you guys have any recommendations, any shows or movies that you think that we would like, or that the show or the reviews would like, let us know. We'll definitely check them out.
Yeah,
Our next episode is definitely probably going to be a one-on-one
probably with me.
movie review. That's actually going to be more in depth. And like I said, any of the episodes that are labeled as an actual show or movie, spoilers, because we're going to be diving into
Yeah,
it
because
and discussing it and discussing what they did, how they did it. We're going to be discussing a lot.
yeah, there'll be a lot of spoilers because a
Um,
lot of movies that are so informative, you can't help but spoil.
what's the point?
There's also
But
there's
anyway, so
fuck you, Rick Moranis puncher. That's all I gotta say.
fair. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this next episode.
Yep.
Hopefully, we'll have some more content coming soon.
Please comment. Let us know what you think, what we can do
Definitely.
better, how we can help. If there's anything you want to talk about, any shows, keep it.
Keep positive.
Yeah. But we're always willing to hear commentary, criticism, and like I said, please let us know stuff you want us to watch or that we should watch. Um, we may have even already watched it, and you want us to talk about it. We'll talk about it. Just let us know. Um, feel free to email us at wickedchaos603@gmail.com with anything you have to say. Thanks. You guys have a good night.
Have a good night.